I say you'd get lucky to get 2 good days out of a year where you really at peace and tranquility, all that stuff. And I had that all the time. With you acting a fool. We got that every day. So you can tell them what you want, but you can't tell that crap to me. I don't go for it. New life, a new life that's good and pure, and we bestow on such their reward according to the best of their actions. Yeah, that's big. That's big. I'll read 1 or 2 more things. Innahu laisa lahu sultanun ala alladhina amanu wa ala rabbihim yattawakkalun. No authority, that's the word sultan, authority. Innahu laisa, without, that don't have, laisa lahu sultanun, no authority has he over those who believe. And put their trust in Allah. Innama sultanahu ala alladhina yattawakkalun. Walladhina hum bihi mushrikun. His authority is over those only who take him as a patron. The shaitans, remember now, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when Aisha asked him, "You have a devil too?" He said, "Sure, but I didn't conquer mine, and he only suggests good to me." So I lay in wait for shaitan right now. You know, when they hit me up in the head, I said, let me wait on shaitan. I'll see where they're coming from. You know, because I figured ain't nobody going to bust you upside the head unless they're going to try to squirt some, screw it up. So I just lay on old shaitan. And then I'm waiting for certain things. And when he come with it, I just sit there. I said, no, boy, we ain't into that. In fact, I go through a ritual, psychological ritual. I grab shaitan by his neck and drag him over to that side of the masjid, and I whoops his behind. It's psychological, of course. I sticks my foot in his butt. He be hollering, running all around the masjid. Oh, I said, it's all right now. You got to. I told you to go mess with somebody else. I quit. I won't. I said, that's right. You're gonna have to quit fast. So he play with you. You play with a bunch of bums. You're just a bum. No authority has over those who believe and put their trust in the Lord. You put your trust in Allah, that little old nickel and dime, brainwash, scoop-de-doo, the stuff they catch people with is the lightest bait in the world. Usually it's sugar on the end of it. Usually a girl or something like that, right? It's got to be something to it because all the spy movies is that they got a beautiful lady to catch whoever they want to catch. And does it work? Of course it works. So they tried to use that on me in Oakland. I said, no, I ain't into that. I said, you ain't even got no niggas that go 15 years of celibacy. Right in the middle of the, most juicy part of life. Because you didn't have all of that in spades. It ain't no big deal. They don't know what to do then. So they go over and over again with some old dumb bait trying to catch you, and it ain't going to work. I'm sorry. They're dumb. And the people that follow them is dumb. That's not nice to say. The people that follow them is needy. If you look on my phone now, I got a few calls from, I don't know why they all of a sudden start calling here again. And I don't answer. I don't even, there's nothing to even talk about. You know, uh, there's an old song, The Power of Love. Nothing, it goes. Anyway, so I like the song, but it's just the word, the power of love, not the other thing. I was lonely and all of that stuff, and then the power of love. You know. Well, I like that part. It's repetitious over and over again, and we've been using that a long time. Some of the notes go back over 20 years ago. It was before that. But see, the main thing they try to do is make you like them. Try to make you like them, you know. And I keep telling them, I said, no, I'm not like y'all. It's too sweet. See, and a lot of people, if they haven't had those sparkling things, it's got to be all right, the way they look at it. Because the sparkle, it shines so much. When I used to sell certain things, certain types of powder, the football players and the famous people liked it. All the Red Fox type people and all of them, they liked it. And if you saw them, you would think they have everything. And you're not happy. And how is it that Hollywood, it's because it's a big fantasy. You got everything that's supposed to be nice. The people out there, if you look at them, you say they look very nice, right? And now the women ain't like the women in the 50s in the movies. They was straight up and straight down. They thought Marilyn Monroe, 36, 22, 36 was a super bill. They got girls now, the average girl, you remember they used to say white girls ain't got no shape and no behind? Go out there now and see what you see. Huh? Just go right outside. I mean, of course, you can't be looking at them, but you can't miss it, right? They are structured. Look, they used to be almost straight up and down. Straight up and down. So much so that Marilyn Monroe was the beautifulest thing at that time. And she had a Coke bottle shape. Well, now they got girls that, anyway, hey, and they're everywhere. And all the people that check off every box are so unhappy that how could they get that unhappy? You got everything that they say that makes something right. How could you be that unhappy? And the Negroes say, man, if I had that tender, man, I'd be grinning from ear to ear. And that tender is crazy. Or their life is, all messed up. And the more they tell them they should be happy, the less happier they are. All the child movie stars, I think Shirley Temple might have squeezed through. But everybody else, the little white lady that just got her money back, her daddy was taking all her money. Britney Spears. Yeah, but she was crazy. She might have a little sense now. And they working the poor lady to death. She lucky she got all them friends out there. Free Britney, free Britney. If she was like the other little lady, ain't got too many friends. I'll think of her name in a minute. They all dope fiends and crazy. Why? Because that stuff is not real. And they say, I can't, at first 2 weeks it might be all right, but after a while, you can't feel it. You know what I mean? And they feel like killing themselves. They say, well, if this is the best it gets, hey, I can't stand this, right? That's what they do out there. That's what most of them do. And to be in a place with the most beautiful people, the standard, what they call beautiful, people lifting iron and good shape and all that, and they crazy. And a lot of the boys now out there is starting to act, the big old boys, good gracious life, what happened to you, brother? And they want to do something else. I said, my goodness, hey, I'm going to zip through Hollywood. I'm not going to slow down for nothing. We got the Hollywood Masjid. I don't care. I'm going to just go down to the Negro Masjid. It is some things out there. I ain't going because it's, Anyway, I moved toward the close. As-Sabiqun, to have confidence in the leadership and its general direction is its method of operation. And now I'm talking about myself here. My level of competence is what Dr. Kaleem Sadiq, he talked about muttaqi leadership. That's semi-taqwa. I'm not saying I'm doing any good, but all of that ill, when you need 50 barrels of ill, hey, I'm sorry. Guidance on large questions of Islam. General questions about As-Sabiqun. We offer muttaqi leadership. That is, you don't have to worry about nobody taking nothing from you or stuff like that. That's just the way it is. I already had it, and I already know what it is, and I know what this is. That was the greatest gift, to have that first. That's the reason I believe that Allah wanted me to go through that so I could have all of that. So when I get here, then I would know, oh, I already know. There's nothing they can do to convince me about the beauty of that, about staying high. And one of my partners, when I was helping him get a start, I would send him somewhere to go get some money and bring it down to me in South America. We stayed together before we did what we was going to do for a month. He uses physical fitness too, and we walked up Mount Surat every day, and we was in good shape. And so he said to me after a while, if you could give me 1 pound of cocaine, I could make, and he had it wrote out, $84,000. I said, we can't do that. I said, why not? I said, because we're not little petty dealers. I said, the less I can give you is 10 or 15 pounds. That's the least. 1 pound, that's something there in those days. I said, you may not know it. You've been here a month now, right? I said, you and I have snorted up a pound of cocaine. I said, don't you remember all those jars in the cabinet there? And some of the blow had a couple of ounces in it. I would keep, every time I would buy a shipment or a package, I would take some out of it and keep an ounce or two. I said, you remember those jars in the kitchen? I said, all of them is empty. I said, you done snorted up a pound of pure cocaine already. A pound, 16 ounces. So you can't do it. The less is 10 or 15. I mean, you can't go back to America with 1 pound of, you're at the source. He was thinking what he had been doing before, if he could get his hands on that much, it would be big, you know. And I said, you didn't snort it that much. You know that nice feel you have all the time? Yeah. And no hangover and druggy feeling. I said, cause that's flake, straight up flake. There ain't no aftertaste, ain't no headache. That stuff they have back there, niggas be slobbing at the mouth. They put so much junk in there, you don't know what it is. This come right out of the bottle, out of the jar. So then he started thinking something was up. I said, no, it ain't nothing up. We're in a bigger deal now. You know, in other words, you have to evolve. What do you think we've been talking about